So what are the 7 biggest mistakes that you could make when you are answering the questions in your police recruitment interview? So in this video today, I'm going to show you what 7 mistakes actually looks like from one of the webinars that I ran last night. So last night I helped a group of individuals prepare for the online assessment centre. This is the thing that you have to do before most face-to-face interviews with people from your force. This is the National Assessment Centre. And it's actually got in it 5 interview questions that you're going to have to answer. There's no one at the other end, by the way. You're just speaking to a camera. And last night there were 7 mistakes made, really big mistakes. The 7th one, you want to hang around to the end of this video because the 7th one will topple you when you hear about it. But it's one that so many of you could easily make, and it could mean that you never get the opportunity to join the police. It's that much of a mistake. Seriously. And I'm so glad that we uncovered it last night, because this individual could have failed and failed dramatically. So if you've not watched any of these videos before, who am I? I'm Brendan from Bluelight, and I've been working in the police sector now for 38 years. I was a serving police officer for 28 years. And for the past 28 years, I've been helping people to succeed in police promotion boards, specialist interviews, and especially over the past 13 years for the police recruitment process. A good 16,000 plus people are in the police as a result of my support, which is just something amazing. So anyway, if you want to find out a little bit more about the webinars that I'm talking about, then check the links below and you'll see links to the courses I run, the ones with the webinars, where every week we meet twice a week actually, and go through all the different elements of the online assessment centre. And if you're preparing for your final interview, then there's also a course for you as well. And we meet every Sunday evening to practice, and you get access to all the recordings of those webinars, and you get access to the online course. And if it's something that within 24 hours you think isn't for me, just let me know and I'll give you a full refund. Actually, over the past year, I've only given 1 refund. So that's how awesome this course is. It will guarantee that you pass. You do the work, I guarantee you'll pass. If you don't, get a refund. How fair is that? Anyway, let's get into the 7 mistakes that were made. And remember, you need to hang around for the last one, because my jaw dropped. Honestly, my jaw dropped. So the first one, going too fast. This is something that so many of you do. You go so fast. This individual answered the question, the practice question, in the space of 3 minutes and 2 seconds. You've got 5 minutes to answer the question in, so use all of that. They were going so fast, I had a lot of difficulty in actually making notes recording what they were saying for the debrief, because we always debrief the answers. So that's the first one. You've got to slow down. Make it easy for the assessor to assess you. Second one, no buzzword bingo, because this is how it went. I wanted to qualify and identify the root cause. I used clear communications. I took collaborative opportunities. I was proactive. I coordinated. I mitigated things. Efficient milestones. Delegated to the team. I was calm and composed. I had a positive attitude. I motivated the team. I demonstrated effective communications. I was diligent. I demonstrated my commitment. I was solution orientated and demonstrated effective problem solving skills with resilience and a focused mindset. Bingo! It was just a ton of buzzwords, honestly. I think this client actually hit the record for the number of buzzwords in one answer. Seriously, there was more than that. That was just a snapshot. Didn't actually tell me about anything that he'd done. And so when we debriefed it, I discovered that the scenario that we was talking about was awesome. It's definitely going to answer the question and answer it really well. But he just had to get rid of these buzzwords. He thought, because I think he'd read it in some book somewhere, that as long as you use buzzwords from the CVF, the Competency and Values Framework, you'll pass. No, you won't. And if you try that at a final interview, honestly, because I used to be an interviewer, I'd just stop you halfway through and just say, you need to stop doing this. You know, you're making my head hurt. Stop doing it. What you need to do instead is describe how you did those things, but not so many of them. My goodness. Anyway, he's got an awesome answer now. I promise you he's going to get a great score. Number 3, using words from your sector that you understand but no one else does. So this happens especially with those of you who are military or ex-military, and I've got the hugest of respect for you, but I had no idea last night what a sanga was, a senga, and I had no idea what a corporal does. Well, I do actually a little bit, but the assessor might not. I didn't know what a corporal in the MOD 4 rifles was. So you've got to avoid all of this, because, and there's other things in there as well. I'm not going to go into, I don't even know what some of the words are. They were explained to me after. And what you've got to do is you've got to make sure that you explain anything that's technical in a language that a 10-year-old could understand. All right, in a language, I'm going to repeat this, in a language that a 10-year-old could understand. And when he did that, it all made sense. It absolutely made sense. So I know exactly what a sanga is now. All right, so number 4, when you say that I asked for opinions, I spoke to and sought the opinions of, I spoke to and discovered. That's what you did. I want to know how you did it. So it's the how you did it that demonstrates the behaviors and bumps you up on this scalar. Just simply saying that you did something isn't enough. You want to know how you did it. And you've got plenty of time. You've got 5 minutes. That 5 minutes is a long time to talk. This candidate here only spoke for 3 minutes and 50 seconds. So still had 1 minute and 10 seconds that they could use. And by the way, make sure you use that time. You're aiming for a score of 90% plus. You're not just aiming for a pass, because it is competitive to get into the police. Only 1 in 15 nationally actually succeed. It was 1 in 10 during the uplift. It's about 1 in 15 now. It's returning to where it was before uplift. So that's number 4. You've got to make sure you talk about not just what you did, but how you did it. Once we debrief this particular example, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be scoring 90% plus. I absolutely guarantee it. Number 5, structure. You've got to have a structured approach. This client, in answering the question last night, was talking to me about this incident like they were telling me as a friend in a pub. And that's just not what they're looking for. You've got to have a structured approach. We use style coup. And it makes so much sense. The feedback I've had from thousands is it makes so much more sense than STAR. I think the only reason STAR's popular is because it spells a word. Number 6, this was about decision making, a question about decision making, and I couldn't identify what the decision was. So there's got to be a problematic challenge within your answer for anything, but this one was around decision making. I couldn't actually identify in the answer where the decision was. What was problematic or challenging? And at the end of it, we kind of worked out that actually there was nothing problematic or challenging. It's just me describing how I do my work. So probably not going to score very well. So we ditched that one. You know, this wasn't one I could turn around. The example was pretty awful, actually. I've got to tread really carefully, because the individual concerned, before they answered it, thought it was a really good example. I don't pull my punches. There's no point in me pulling my punches. There's no point in me telling you, oh, I think that'd be great with a little bit of adjustment here, there, and everywhere. No, if it's not going to work, I'll tell you. I will tell you. If it's going to work, I will tell you. If it needs improvement, I will tell you, and I'll show you what you need to do. But if it's not going to work, I'll be honest with you and just tell you, that's not going to work. You need to come up with a different example. All right, number 7. This is the one that made my jaw drop. So this individual was telling me about a set of circumstances. They were telling me about a set of circumstances. And I thought this could be a really good answer. But in the debrief, I wanted to discover more detail about what had actually happened. And this is where my jaw dropped, because the individual said, well, I don't know. I said, well, what do you mean don't know? Well, I didn't actually do this. It was a friend of mine. Well, jaw dropped. So it wasn't actually the experience of this individual. Now, this individual wasn't trying to hide anything. You know, they genuinely believed that what the question was looking for was how you would deal with something, how you would deal with an example of that particular thing. This one was around professionalism. And they were genuinely, I think they were a bit upset as well, because I think they probably thought that I thought less of them for some reason, because I thought they were lying. Well, in their head they weren't. You know, if they were being dishonest with me and lying to me, they would not have come up with the, well, actually, I don't know, because I wasn't there. It was a friend of mine, so I can always find out. they genuinely believed that what you had to deliver was an example of how you deal with something in your current employment. Now, I know, because I've spoken to a few people who have said, well, I passed, I could have worked with you, I failed on the briefing, or I failed on the written. I passed the interview part, but I made it up, and I've just refused to work with them. I will not work with them. I'm going to continue working with this individual because it's a genuine mistake. It doesn't happen often, by the way, but I've had 2 people over the past few years have said, I actually just made up the answers, or I got them from a book. I won't work with people like that. It shows a complete and utter lack of integrity. Now, what will happen if on a final interview, if you come up with something, and if it's from a book, or it's an idea you picked up from somewhere else, or it's something a friend did, or something you watched someone else do, you didn't own the experience, it wasn't yours. At a final interview, I'll ask questions. I will ask probing questions to discover more about whatever it is that you did, or you claim that you did. And if I've got any doubt, if I think, actually, I'm not sure whether this person experienced this, or I'm not sure whether I'm getting spun a yarn here, I'll ask a lot of probing questions. And you'll trip yourself up, I promise you. Remember, the people who are interviewing you are really sharp sergeants and inspectors, and they don't get to the rank of sergeant or inspector by collecting tokens from Cocoa Pops packets. They get to that rank because they're really sharp individuals who are good judges of character. And they put the best inspectors and sergeants in front of new recruits to decide whether they're going to be in their force or not. So if I find out, or you make a revelation that this didn't actually happen, that's it. That's the end of the interview. I will stop the interview. I've never had to do that, but I would. That's what I would do as an interviewer, and I've interviewed in the past. I'd just stop the interview and say, that's the end. You've failed. And I put a mark on the file that they demonstrated a lack of integrity because they lied. You can't start off your career in the police on a lie. Even if it's one that you made a genuine mistake with, I'm not going to take the risk. So I will fail you, and you'll never be able to join again. That'd be it. You'll have failed, the equivalent of failing on vetting because of a lack of integrity. If you fail like that with one force, you'd have to declare it next time you apply for another force. And they'd make an inquiry to that other force, and they would just say, we failed them because they showed a lack of integrity, they lied during the interview. And that's the end of it. You will never be able to join the police, ever. Full stop, ever. So just don't, folks. Just don't even be tempted. Don't even be tempted to over-egg the pudding. If you did something, great. Own it, be responsible for it, be proud of what you did, and tell the interview panel. If you wish you'd done something on reflection, then there's a really good way you can include that, which is going to get you marks. But never, never, never over-expand on what you did. There is a way, if on reflection, you're talking about something you actually did, and you're thinking, if only I could say that I did X, Y, and Z in addition to what I did, it would be a really, really, really good answer, and it would score so highly. Just don't do that. Don't even be tempted to do that. You're starting your career off with a lie, and there's a way of securing those marks, I promise you, without you having to lie. You can talk about them, and there's a special part of the interview structure where you can do that. And if you'd like to discover more, here's a tease, I'm afraid, then check the links below. Come and join me on those weekly webinars where we're going to explore, give you the opportunity to practice, give you the opportunity to make mistakes. The place to make mistakes is with me. Like last night, seven big mistakes. 7 big mistakes. These are common ones, except for the jaw-dropping one. I've not come across that one for a long time. But I'm glad it was made last night with me in a safe environment where I could explore it a little bit more, make sure it was a genuine mistake. Because if I had any doubt and I thought that it was someone who was actually deliberately lying, they'd be off my course. They'd be off my course. I wouldn't want to know. All right, folks, well, listen, I hope you found that really useful. If you have, then please do subscribe, check that bell notification, so every time I release another one of these, and there's 2 or 3 of these going out every week, you're going to get notified. And check the links below to the Facebook groups, to the courses, all the things you need to ensure and guarantee you get yourself a pass. I'll catch you soon, folks. Bye-bye for now.